This is the second edition of the award, and we're here to celebrate the life of ordinary Africans who have done extraordinary things. The Daily Trust African of the Year Award is a homegrown prize in which the nomination, the selection, and the award are all done here in Africa. And like any idea whose time has come, we are able to surmount sometimes serious challenges to symbolically bring Africa together in this simple ceremony in Abuja. I would like in particular to thank our special guests. Thank you for coming, Winnie, Madizikela Mandela, Zinzi, Zodwa, and the other members of their entourage from South Africa. Thank you, Samia Nkrumah from Ghana. Thank you, Senator Bukuno Akerele from Lagos. I'd like to also thank Alhaji Ahmed Joda and Hajia Leda Dogonyaro, who, like last year, the United Bank for Africa, UBA, is partnering with Daily Trust by offering the prize money of $50,000 US. The committee has decided that from this year, there will be only one Daily Trust African of the Year awardee. However, a citation of one runner-up who came closest to clinching the award will also be read by one of the committee members.
It is my pleasure to address you this night on behalf of the board and management of United Bank for Africa. We have supported the Daily Trust African Personality of the Year Award for 2 years now, for two principal reasons. One is because UBA is the African Global Bank, and this is in line with our Afrocentric positioning. Daily Trust of Africa African of the Year Award also aligns with our vision to be a role model for African businesses, and then with our commitment to uplifting the positive ideals of African people. Last year, it was our pleasure to support this award with $50,000, which was split between 3 awardees. The winners for last year then, which we had to support, were Dr. Dennis Mekwage, Dr. Christiana Thorpe, and the legendary musician Salif Keita, who emerged first, second, and third respectively.
On July 10th last year, 13 Sudanese women were arrested by the public order police in a Khartoum restaurant for wearing trousers. They were charged with violating the public dress code, the penalty being 40 lashes, under Article 152 on indecent and immoral acts of the Penal Code of 1991. 10 of these women pleaded guilty, 2 of them under 16 years of age, and some of them Southerners who were not meant to be subject to this law in the first place. All of those who pleaded guilty received 10 lashes. The story went across Africa, and of course, given the kind of world that we live in today, it's very easy to ignore the fact that Sudanese people responded to this case, as well as other Africans. And what I want to focus on, and what we wanted to focus on, is the African responses to this case. They called for an end to what they saw as discrimination on the basis of sex, for equal application of the law and access to justice, for freedom from degrading and inhuman treatment, as outlined as freedoms and rights of all Sudanese in the Comprehensive Peace Agreement of January 9, 2005, in the Interim National Constitution and of course in the protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, which has been signed by the Sudan. The nominee who in the end received the runners-up position, Ms. Al-Hussein, was one of the three who did not plead guilty. Ms. Al-Hussein is in her 30s. She is widowed. She is the journalist, an author of a weekly column, and was employed as a press officer with the United Nations mission in the Sudan at the time. She decided not to plead guilty, to ask for a lawyer, to go to court and risk the 40 lashes so as to argue for the elimination of Article 152. She was detained for a week before her first court appearance. The case was postponed when she finally was brought to court. She resigned from the UN so as to lose her immunity because she really wanted to see this case through. She was finally released on the President's orders and has since been subjected to public censure and threats, and 44 Sudanese women who were arrested at her trial for demonstrating outside the court. Of those 44, 4 were injured, with 1 still in critical condition. Why did we nominate her, knowing how volatile these issues can be all across the continent? I think for us in the advisory committee, we all recognize it would have been so easy for her to plead guilty and pay the fine on arrest. It would have been so easy for her to use her immunity to avoid trial. It would have been easy for her to pay the fine rather than risk being lashed. But she chose to challenge the interpretation and enforcement of the law in the name of all Sudanese women who do not have the privilege to do so. And it is for that reason that I would like us to recognize in absentia our runner-up for this year, Lubna Ahmed Al-Hussein.